Time for another YouTube knife maker challenge. This time they're doing a chopper challenge. So thought, what can I make that would be really cool, really big, badass chopper, but yet beautiful, and maybe give me a shot at winning. I already have a big chunk of random pattern damascus that I figured I could turn into a Cu-Mai blade. So I'll have a couple layers of copper in there with the damascus jacket on it and the solid core. So I think I'll make that, draw it out as big as I can, make sure I got good solid welds all the way around, see how big of a billet I wind up with, and decide then what I'm going to turn it into. I don't know what I'll do for a handle. I guess it'll kind of depend on what the knife is going to look like, but kind of leaning towards doing some kind of maybe a deer antler handle and put some mokume gane in it. So I don't know. We'll see what the steel gives me and we'll give it a shot. So here I took the random pattern damascus that I had and I'm making a Cu-Mai blade. I guess Cu-Mai comes kind of from a Japanese term, like Sanmai is a 3-layered steel, Go-Mai is a 5-layered steel. Well, it kind of got termed Cu-Mai as copper layered steel. So this is a 5-layer, it's a Cu-Mai knife. I tried to drill some holes on the outside of the 90-layer damascus to see if I could do a bird's eye pattern, but the steel's still pretty thick and I didn't drill them very deep. So I don't know if that'll work or not, but I'll still press it in another random pattern, which should really show a lot of nice texture in the damascus. So I'm going to weld it all the way up here, weld it all the way around so no air can get in, and the copper hopefully doesn't melt and be able to get out. So hopefully it'll trap it in there and I'll get some nice clean welds. So I had a delamination split in the copper out on the end here. So I was able to cut it all off and get it to some nice solid welds all the way around. There's one teeny tiny little delam I had in there. I got it ground down, but it's just a tiny little divot left, so that'll grind off when I grind the blade in. I didn't know what to do to try and make it a chopper, so based on what the steel gave me here, I think I can do a 6.5-inch Nakiri, a little Japanese vegetable chopping knife. It's not the big badass chopper I was hoping for, but it is a chopper. The pattern turned out beautiful, so I think it's going to be a really nice blade. I will have to weld it to hang on, but I'll grind away at that so the strength is by where the bolster is. The weld should hold the handle on good. I think I'm going to do a combination though of the Japanese style and Americanize it a little bit and use a deer antler handle. We'll see what I got in my antler stock and see if I can make that happen or not, but that's what I'm working with. The pattern you can see is pretty cool, and the copper line down there should look really nice when it's done. So we'll get that shaped out and then start working with thermocycling the steel. So we'll go from there. So here I cut a piece of 5160 steel to make the hidden tang on this. As you can see here, I'm trying to get it welded in place real good. After I welded this on, which the video is showing now, I put it in the vise and just tried to give it a little stress test to see how strong it was, and it did snap on me. So I cut another one after this, and I ground bevels into the ends, and I got a really solid weld on it all the way through. Well, when I went to put that video in here, it was gone. So I'm showing you this one. You can see I just have them butted up, and I'm not getting a real good penetration on the weld, but when I redid it, it was strong. I put it in the vise and cranked on it, but I lost all that video. So I'm just showing you what I did here the first time, but it is stronger than it looks right now. Alright, so I can finalize the plan here of how this is going to look. So the blade's going to be basically that shape. You can see I blacked out where I'm going to grind everything away. The weld line was actually way back in here, so that'll give it some strength. I got this piece of mokume gane that I made a while back out of 10 quarters. Flattened them out and shaped it. Then I got a nice big thick piece of brass, and then that's some of the 7,000-year-old bog oak I ordered from over in Europe, and then some deer antler, and that's what's going to make up the handle. So hopefully that'll look pretty good. You know, we'll be able to see this up on the front side of it. So that's the plan. So we'll get the handle shaped out here and start putting things together. Alright, we're going to do the thermal cycling now. I just got the bevels rough ground in. So, as you can see, I got the blade in there starting to warm up. So we'll get her to 843, which is 1550 degrees. We'll do that, cool it down to room temperature, and then 1500 degrees down to room temperature, and then 1450 down to room temperature. After that, we'll get ready to do the heat treat. Alright, we've been thermal cycling here at 8:15 for about 10 minutes now. So I think she's ready for the quench here. So I already preheated my oil. There it is. Don't drop it now. Looks pretty. So I changed my mind here. Instead of using that big chunk of brass for the bolster and then the bog oak, I'm going to use this piece of mokume gane I just made as the bolster, and then a piece of pearlized blue resin, and still have the 7,000-year-old bog oak in there. So changed my mind a little bit. That piece of mokume gane I was going to use for the front, I'm going to put on the back of the antler because it seems to match up pretty well size-wise. And then I'll file that in and try to make it look nice. So that's what I'm doing here, is taking another piece of mokume gane I made from quarters and drilling that out right now, and gonna file on that and make it fit. So here we're ready to epoxy everything up. I use pieces of blue cloth in between most things. Gives something for the epoxy to really grab on and adhere to, and it fills any possible gaps or anything, and just makes it look real nice and tight and clean when you're done. I have some blue G10 that I put next to the blue spacer in there just to give it a little bit of matching contrast, I guess, if that makes sense. I just figured it would look really nice when it's done. So here we'll get it all epoxied up and then let it cure. Something that I do at this point in the build is I'll cover the handle and anything that I don't want to be affected by the ferric chloride etch with nail polish. The nail polish will resist the acid, so it doesn't affect what's underneath it. That way I can just submerge the whole knife and etch exactly what I want to etch. Then after I get it etched the way I want, I'll use some acetone and take the nail polish off, and it turns out just the way I want it. So that's what I'm doing here.